Let me start by apologizing for starting late. My name is Kagisho Mamabolo. I'm the spokesperson for Nsfas. And let me thank you for coming to this short notice for our important briefing. I will start by introducing the panel. On my far left, it's Mr. Msula Daka, who is the Nsfas Executive Officer. And next to him, it's Richard Mackinnon Little, who is the Chief Information Officer at Nsfas. Without wasting your time, I will allow the Executive Officer to read the statement, and after that we'll take questions. And I do understand and I must welcome our colleagues who are in Pretoria. We welcome them and will also involve them in this briefing. Thank you.
Media, and thank you for coming to this briefing. It's probably a little bit unusual to have a press conference on the 15th of December. People should be going home, rather than we dragging you into this. But we felt that these are important matters to be brought to the attention of the public. Today marks 15 days since we closed the Nsfas closed the application period for the 2017 financial assistance period, and for students who wish to study at the 26 universities and 50 TVET colleges. Indeed, many young people from rural and urban areas throughout the country took time to visit our application centers to apply, since applications were open from the 1st of August to the 30th of November 2016. Ideally, we would have liked to wait until the matric results are released before we make any further announcements regarding the 2017 outcome of applications. However, looking at the number of applications received and looking at the number of calls we've received on a daily basis through our contact centers and pressure from various stakeholders, including the higher education institutions, to communicate the outcome of Nsfas funding to students, we thought it would be important to address the nation on a few issues. We understand that all parents and learners would like to know what will be the next step, since the applications have now closed. In the history of Nsfas, this is the first time that financial aid applications are sent centrally to the Nsfas offices, where funding decisions will be centrally made. We've come from an era where we have worked with universities and colleges who have acted as our agents in making these funding decisions. We have now centralized the system. Only Nsfas will make the funding decisions on who is funded and who is not funded. As we celebrate 25 years of existence as a scheme of government, we are proud of this milestone. Ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that we began with the transformation of Nsfas in 2013. In 2014, the new model was piloted in approximately 15% of the Nsfas funded students population, and for the 2014-15 financial year, with plans to roll it fully to all institutions in the 2016-17 financial year. In essence, we started this with this process. 85% of the student population remained in the old system. We are proud to report that we are on track. We have migrated most of the 85% into the new system, which is the continuing students, and those students don't have to apply again. We are only waiting for their results before we confirm that they will be funded for the 2017 academic year. We can confirm that as we stopped counting applications for the new students, a total of 233,470 applications were received. This number includes both applications made through our online platform and the manual or paper-based application forms. And that's important because there was an understanding at some point that we are only doing online applications, but we were doing both online and paper-based applications. 129,382 applications were submitted through the My Nsfas online platform via our website and mobile platforms, whilst 104,088 applications were manual applications that were handed in either in the form of fax, posted, scans to email, and we're still counting as we captured these applications. We can confirm that at Nsfas this year, Christmas has been postponed. We confirm that our website became one of the most visited websites ever. On the 28th of September 2016, we recorded over 26,000 unique users in one day. Users visiting our website for the first time. A month later, on the 28th of November, 2 days before the closing date of application, we recorded over 48,500 unique users, almost double our previous record. In the last 30 days, we've had 435,096 unique users on our website, whilst we've had over 7.9 million page visits recorded on our site. We've recorded the highest volume in the Nsfas history in just 1 month, and we've tripled our volume, and our system remained resilient. I know that in the last few days of the application process, our system was reported to be much lower than in the previous days. As you can see from these numbers, our online application portal has experienced a heavier than estimated and expected user load. This load has ranged between 4,000 and 5,000 active users at any one time. It has resulted in slow response times and intermittent timeouts, which in turn would have affected students applying and therefore resulted in abnormally high levels of calls to our contact center. Simultaneously, we've also experienced an extremely high flow of incoming applications via email in the order of tens of thousands. Nonetheless, our system has remained resilient to manage those applications. Following the closing of applications, thousands of learners continue to inquire about the possible extensions to the application's deadline because they have not been able to send their application. As a result of this, the Nsfas executive management engaged with most of our key stakeholders, the Department of Higher Education and Training, Department of Basic Education, the Department of Social Development, student leadership, vice chancellors, college principals, registrars, and financial aid directors to see what can be done to ensure that those who couldn't apply are given another opportunity. The call by this group of students to extend the application period was strong. It gained momentum with each day. On the social media pages, most of the grade 12 learners and some of the students complained about the number of issues that resulted in them not applying, asking for a second opportunity. We then took it upon ourselves as the executive management of the scheme to explain to the stakeholders, especially the universities, the implications and the challenges that come with extending the online and central applications deadline. We thank the Department of Social Development and Department of Basic Education for assisting us with database of all learners who sat for the NSC exams this year and those who are on the social grant database. This will assist us to improve how we rank and evaluate the students who should be prioritized for financial aid. This simply means that support and money will follow the learners, and secondly, the more vulnerable learners from poor households would receive priority in financial assistance. As communicated by government earlier this week, indeed, matriculants who are currently receiving a social grant and are accepted to institutions of higher learning will no longer go through a means test to qualify for financial aid from Nsfas. What we're waiting for from those learners is the results from their NSC exams and confirmation that they've been accepted to the institutions of higher learning. Opening of the second phase of applications. After considering all the submissions from our stakeholders, Nsfas executive management decided that it was best to open the second and last application window of application for financial aid in 2017 as follows. Nsfas will reopen for 2017 applications for all learners who have not applied during the first window of 1st August to 30th November 2016. Applications for students who wish to study at the TVET colleges will open from the 9th of January and close on the 14th of February. This is meant to coincide with a few days after the matric results are out, so that those learners who might not have applied and now they get their results, they are able to get into our site and apply. Applications for students who wish to study at universities will open on the 9th of January, but will close much earlier on the 20th of January 2017. as we need to make funding decisions to students to go to universities, and universities will be reopening as early as mid-January. Although Nsfas will accept and continue to accept paper applications, universities and TVET colleges have been encouraged to assist students to submit online applications during this second window of application. This will help to speed up the process of evaluation and funding for the students, as we won't have much time in the January window. The second window of application period will not affect the first phase of applications that were already received by Nsfas as at the 30th of November 2016. For students who have already applied by the deadline of the 30th November 2016, Nsfas is still evaluating and processing the applications and will communicate the outcomes of the applications from the 5th of January 2017. For those who will submit the applications on the 9th, from the 9th of January, the outcome of the applications will be communicated from the 1st of February 2017. We are calling all young people who have missed the first application phase this year and need Nsfas financial support to take advantage of this second opportunity to submit the applications for financial assistance as soon as possible. Online applications can be done on the Nsfas website, whilst manual applications can be sent via fax, post, or email, as with the recent application phase. This is now time to start collating all your supporting documents so that the application process can be much smoother. Ladies and gentlemen, Nsfas would like to take this opportunity to share important information with our students regarding the payment of allowances for food, traveling, books, and private accommodation. Nsfas is rolling out the implementation of what we term SPACs, which is a cell phone-based banking solution that we have introduced to distribute funds directly to individual students for these allowances. Through the SPAC system, a student will be able to access funds on his or her mobile phone using a security PIN and password to access his or her personal account. This means that students who qualify for Nsfas loans or bursaries will receive allowances in the form of phone vouchers to pay for all the allowances, while Nsfas will pay tuition fees directly to the universities. We'll give allowances for these expenses directly to the students on their cell phones using this SPACs platform that we are rolling out. Up to this stage, we have more than 3,334 merchants or outlets that have already signed up in the SPACs program. These include major retailers like ShopRite, Boxer, Checkers, Spar, USave, and these are mainly for food merchants. We have also signed up the top 10 booksellers in the country are also registered in the SPAC platform, as students will be buying books from the beginning of the year. Students who are accepted to SPACs will receive an SMS welcoming them to SPACs as soon as they've completed signing their loan agreement forms or their bursary agreement forms. They will follow the prompts and enter their ID numbers in order to be verified, following which they will receive their passwords. 2 days later, funds will be available in their account for usage. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to emphasize that when we talk disbursement of the Nsfas allowances at 50 TVET and 26 university colleges, we are talking huge transactions, and a one-size-fits-all policy for these disbursements of allowances cannot be applicable due to the unique circumstances inherent within certain institutions. This is one of the most difficult spaces that we are managing, and we are trying our level best to ensure that our students are assisted and receive their allowances on time. For example, in the TVET sector, when Nsfas pays for transport allowances for students who commute between home and the college, the absence of public transport service providers prevent Nsfas from using SPAC system to disperse travel and cash allowances to students, such as some of the areas even here in the West Coast area, in the West Coast of the Western Cape. Under these circumstances, normally the process would be that Nsfas will pay the college, and the college will apply the bursary guidelines on Nsfas to pay for transport through the local service providers of their choice. For the university sector, some of the universities would formally request the Nsfas board to delay the provision of SPAC system. These requests, if made on time, are based on the submissions before the board. However, these institutions will be instructed to continue accrediting the landlords for the 2018 implementation. This means that we might be delaying the SPAC's implementation for some institutions for 2018 implementation. The XPAC system will be used, as we indicated, for food allowances where applicable at all institutions except those that have been excluded by application. 2017 will become the year of the transition for private accommodation allowances. All institutions not using SPACs in 2017 will be accrediting their landlords. For institutions that have residences, all accommodation, including private accommodation, will be paid directly to the institutions. We will spend most of the 2017 academic year resolving all the issues, especially as they relate to private accommodation, such as the landlord accreditation, making sure that students stay in accommodation that meets the standards. Nsfas will not be closing for this festive season. We have dedicated this month of December to deal with all the applications that we have already received so that we have the assessment completed before the matric results or the NSA results are released. To respond speedily and effectively to the application project, we have implemented several operational changes, including the extension of business hours for the contact center that now works on Saturdays. Those hours will also be extended in January further. The contact center will work until at night when we have the busy period in January. We have also employed more than 60 temporary staff members who will work on a night shift to capture all the manual applications that we have received. We have also approved overtime for permanent employees to help in processing and capturing all manual applications. These measures are meant to ensure that by the time the students have to go to university, they have already received their results, whether they are funded or not funded. In conclusion, we would like to thank our partners who have made the application project easier than it could have been. We are grateful for the support provided by the National Youth Development Agency when they opened their centers to assist learners to apply for Nsfas throughout the country. We would also like to thank the Vodacom Foundation for availing their 81 teacher training centers across the country, and these centers assisted our learners to apply online. We also want to thank the Department of Social Development through their ECB in the program that has worked tirelessly to ensure that students who come from the most vulnerable areas are able to access the Nsfas application. And DSD also working with us to go through the social grant database to make certain calls to enable government to finally make the conclusion that all those learners that are on the social grant database will not be subjected to another means test. We also want to thank the Department of Basic Education for their assistance, especially with the NSC data, and we're also relying on them to provide us with matric results, the quarantined set of matric results by the 1st of January before all of you have got access to those results. And that would help us to be able to assess the learners that will be funded and be able to give results to the learners before the universities close. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we observe questions? And you can introduce yourself. We'll take a couple of hands. I see only two. Do we have more? Okay.
Okay, I'm Joseph Musia from SABC. I just want to make sure that I heard you right. You said among the people you were thanking is Vodacom Teacher Training Center. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Bianca Capizorio from The Times. I just wanted to find out from you, you mentioned how busy your website was and the numbers of applications. Is this the highest number of applications that you've ever had?
Oh, sorry. The first question, yes, we worked with the Vodacom Foundation through their teacher training centers. and they enabled our learners to apply online, even in the relatively rural towns of the country, because they could walk in and apply online.
And just in response to the question on the highest number of applications, it is the highest number of applications we've taken online. If you recall, Nsfas started off by saying we had 15% of students on the new student-centered model. We've now got 100% of students. So this is by far the highest we've received online applications. In total, remember beforehand the applications were received by the institutions themselves. And so we wouldn't have had visibility of exactly the number.
Can I take?
Thank you. Lucanio from the SABC. So far, in terms of the applications, how much, in terms of value, do you think you are likely to then be able to disperse early next year, just based on the applications that you have before you at the moment?
Joseph?
Okay, sorry, if, I'd like a second. But on the issue of fee increases by institutions, there are several that have actually indicated that they will be taking advantage of the 8% they are allowed. How is this likely to impact on your funding of the students? Is it going to impact? What do you foresee it causing problems, especially with the fees must fall issue still hanging around as well?
Let me start with the question from Lucan on the applications. I think the Nsfas system, how it works, it's a non-exclusion system at application level, which means everyone is allowed to apply. You know, whether you will qualify or not, that gets done at assessment, whether you don't. You know, because we also open application at the same time that universities are opening applications, some people who have applied to us might not get admitted, which means they might not get a place at university, therefore they are not funded. Even if they might have financially qualified, but because they are not admitted to a university, we won't fund them, or they are not admitted to a TVET college. Therefore, the numbers are a bit difficult. Then when we get to January, we'll be able to say, these are the ones that are admitted, these are the ones that are not admitted. But also just to share with you, our total budget for next year is in the region of about 14 billion. Of course, everyone is still finalizing how much they are going to give us. But we've got a total budget of in the region of 14 billion for the 2017 academic year. And that includes both universities and TVET colleges. And by far, the bulk of it is for universities, because university costs are much more expensive than TVET college costs. That's on the numbers. Second question on fee increases. I think the easy answer is there will be no impact to Nsfas on fee increases. Because if you recall the minister's announcement, the minister said when he announced fee increases that all students who are on Nsfas financial aid will not experience a fee increase, which means we as Nsfas will still pay the same cost that we paid in 2015. In 2017, we'll pay the same cost that we paid in 2015 for the same student, because fees for Nsfas students have not increased. Then that's the essence of the minister's announcement. And where the money is going to come from, the department is going to subsidize universities directly for that portion of all students who qualify. Those who are on Nsfas and those who are coming from family incomes up to 600,000. Those will be subsidized. The universities will get a subsidy for all those students. And Nsfas students, all of them fall into that category. Therefore, for us, there is very minimal impact. You know, how the sector general is going to respond, that's, you know, we don't know, you know, in terms of that. But in terms of the budgets and, you know, there is no impact on the Nsfas budget, and we don't expect it to have an impact on our process either, because that process is also being managed by a separate mechanism that is set up by the department.
Thank you, Msulo. Can we go to Pretoria? Do we have questions?
Thanks, Chairperson. We don't have questions in Pretoria.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Chair, we do have one.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I just have one question. Slee from Jacaranda FM. I don't know if Nsfas can answer it. Regarding the missing middle, are there plans regarding how Nsfas can possibly fund those students? Some of those students. Thank you.
There is again a short answer and a long answer. The short answer is no, Nsfas cannot answer that question. That is something that is dealt with by a separate project set up by the minister, the ministerial task team on funding. And that's, the trying to explain to you why there's a short answer. That's why Nsfas can answer. There is a process. We know for a fact that there is an initiative to have a pilot in 2017 for the funding of some of the students who are in the missing middle. But that's not a Nsfas process. It's a process that is managed separately by a ministerial task team. The ministerial task team is, or was chaired, because it has now submitted its report, was chaired by Sizwe Nxasana, who also happens to be the chairperson of the Nsfas board. But those are two separate processes.
Okay, thank you. I would like us to close. Maybe let's observe the last round of questions. Joseph, are you happy? Okay, if there are no further questions, Pretoria? Are there any further questions in Pretoria?
We don't have questions in Pretoria. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to this briefing. We have come to the end. Thanks.